So, it is raining outside, and I had plans, but I'm probably not gonna do those plans because of the rain, because some of it was outside. So, God, I think I will do a bit of shopping today because I'm just feeling like I want to partake in some retail therapy, even if I'm not buying anything, but just the general being out and about and looking. So I'll take you guys along. Let's go. About to make my very simple breakfast, which is just gonna be, honestly, a toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwich, kind of. Even though, like, I never ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches growing up. I just always wanted just pure peanut butter. To the point where one time my dad made a comment, and he's like, and you can just have that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm like, I don't like having peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I want peanut butter. And he got so upset, and I was like, really, you should not have rocked the boat there, because he was already upset. But, like, still. Yeah, for some reason, one of my sisters and I always just did peanut butter sandwiches. But I was like, I've got this Bon Bon jam, and because I'm going to be doing a jam class this week, I probably should eat up more of the jam I have. So hopefully, because I've had this in my fridge for a while, it's all good still. So I have still yet to do anything. It is like a little bit past 11, and I was talking to y'all at about like 9:30. I'm about to get changed, and we'll just start driving around Lexington and just seeing what the day brings for itself. I'm just probably going to lock my phone and do my like normal morning routine, and I like to do that with just music playing, and I lock down my phone just so I can focus and get stuff done. So I'm getting ready to head out. As you can see, I'm dressed, I've got a nice sundress on, and I've got my windbreaker just in case. And we're gonna probably go to a couple of different Goodwills. Of course, maybe Target. I don't know. We'll see where my heart decides to take me. So you know you're in Kentucky when, I don't know if you can see it in there, but there is just like a horse and a horse trailer here, which I find real fun. I went to this patisserie, which I've gone to before. This time I got a toffee nut latte, which was decent. And then I got this pastry that I'd never gotten before. I usually just go for something like a cheese Danish or a pain au chocolat or whatever. But this time I got what was called a beehive pastry or beehive cake. So in this case, usually a beehive cake has like a different base. It's an actual cake. This time they used croissants. I wouldn't be surprised if they used like day-old croissant, because that's what you do with like an almond croissant. But you had the croissant, a honey almond praline, that's what it was called, because I ended up looking it up on the Food Network website to kind of get an idea. And then you have a custard with it, and the custard was delicious. It was like slightly tangy in that way that sometimes like dairy products have. And then the praline was pretty good. It was overall very sweet, but also just delicious, and I liked it a lot. I don't think I'd ordered it again just because it was a lot, but it was quite good. So the Goodwill trip, at least for this one, was pretty good. I ended up finding a Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, Cooking for One, which is something I'm curious about because I've been wanting to get into cooking more. And while sometimes I like having a lot of leftovers, it's also kind of nice to have something different and just kind of reinvigorate cooking for me.
Never got super into it, but I want to, and I love food, of course, so why not? Other things I did buy was it was a cotton button down that was like denim, and it was 100%, and it was something that I'm like, yeah, perfect for summer. The other was a pair of like capri like cigarette pants, mostly cotton also, that are very summery, and I'm really excited to have some cute 50s-esque outfits with it because I've got a lot of tops like that, or I can make it more modern, but it's got like a really fun pattern to it, so that would be something different. So cute. I don't need this though, but I love a lot of these dish towels. This mug is absolutely adorable. And I just also love Doug. I'm back in the car. As you guys saw, I walked through Home Goods, didn't pick up anything. Also walked through Marshall's, didn't pick up anything. I was kind of looking at some of the dresses because I have a friend who's getting married, and I've got one dress that I know is appropriate, or I think is appropriate. I need to double check because it is a Pakistani wedding. I don't think I'm going to any of the religious stuff because the religious stuff is either going to be the day I drive in or the day after, or the day I get there, or the day after I get there, but like in the morning, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, I was looking through it, just trying to find something that's slightly more modest, but nothing really sparked my fancy. This second Goodwill didn't really have anything that piqued my interest. There was some stuff I was curious about, but nothing that I was willing to like hold on to or try on, so oh well. Also, in driving over here, I passed a Taco John, which I always just find hilarious that we're getting one here because I associate that solely with Cheyenne, because for the longest period of time, I'd only see it in Cheyenne, Wyoming when I was visiting my grandparents. And now we've got one here, and I mean, I'm probably not going to eat there because I really don't care for their food. I've eaten there like maybe 3 times, if that, and I was like, nope, not my favorite. But just it has a fond memory because also my dad talks about when when Taco John's was started, it would move to different spots because yeah, they'd moved to Cheyenne around the time that like Taco John's was starting up, and it would just go to different spots, and then it found a spot that worked and it became a whole chain. So I really like these like they're adult sippy cup or fruit pouches, but I don't need it. This is so cute. Again, don't need, but loving it all. So I'm in At Homes now. I'm just kind of wandering again, just looking at all the stuff I can't actually get. Having a slight narcissistic moment with my outfit. I think I look honestly pretty cute today. Finally done with my shopping trip, which went on a lot longer than expected, but hey, that happens. I ended up picking up one thing from Michael's, which was this Disney book that's drinks. I initially was thinking it also included food, but I'm totally cool with it just being the drinks and playing around with that. And it's specifically Disney World, which I've actually never been to before. I'm a Disneyland girl, having grown up in Southern California, but kind of fun to play around with that because Disneyland didn't really do a lot of drinks. Like towards the time I got to be a little bit older, like in my late teens, early 20s, California Adventure started having more drinks, but I've only been to Disneyland once, like one trip since I turned 21, and I never drank at that time. I kind of don't have that association, but I do at some point want to do drinking around the world at Epcot. But speaking of drinking, I did go to Total Wines and I picked up a Vinho Verde, which is a Portuguese white wine. I love it. I'm trying out a new vineyard, and then some other like ciders that are very summery because I'm just feeling it right now, especially since it stopped raining and everything. So yeah, this will be a fun like thing to play around with. Picked up some Prosecco. At a different point I'll pick up like maybe Aperol or maybe some vermouth and Campari, kind of experiment with drinks.
So I'm back home and oh my gosh, I start driving up to my apartment and there's like multiple cop cars with the lights on, like honestly also right in front of where I usually park. And I'm like, and I'm just gonna turn into a different spot. Not my spot at all, not my usual one, but whatever. And then I end up I see one of the cops talking to a neighbor who's got her car. It's a weird thing, and I'm like wondering what's going on. And as I'm walking up to my apartment, she's also walking up the stairs, and I ask her, somebody attempted to steal her car. And I'm like, what the heck? Never heard of anything like this in the years that I've lived here. And I've lived here since August of 2020, which is just kind of crazy. My first thought is this reminds me of, or not reminds me of, but like this morning at like 2 a.m, somebody's car alarm was going off, like blaring. And it went through multiple rounds. And I was thinking for a second, oh my God, is something going on with my car? But it stops, like, as I'm searching to try to find, like, shoes. It's like, so I'm wondering if that's what was going on. But I didn't notice anything this morning. Yeah, that's just, like, absolutely insane.
So I have some more of this almost like kitchen clean out. I'd already made part of this chicken breast beforehand, and I just shredded it up for this. And then tomatoes, cucumbers, there's some radish in there because those were about to go bad. And I used a salad kit that I picked up from Target. It's just the Caesar salad one. So I've got some of the croutons on and some of the dressing on. So, I mean, it's not super bad calorically. And yeah, I'll be honest, today I've just not been like tracking in like any sort of like strict way.
Also, I want to specify immediately that I know if I'm not tracking, then that's harder to lose weight. At this point, I'm right now just trying to make healthier decisions because, again, I was disheartened by not seeing any change in the scale. So this is just something that it's like, okay, it's almost entirely veggies because, like, only the top little bit is the actual, like, meat and, like, dressing. Everything else is pretty much just, like, romaine lettuce. But, yeah, I know, and I know I should be better because if I'm going to complain, I should do better. And I was just trying to be like, okay, I was only using about a third of the dressing, and I used about half of the croutons for this dressing, and I didn't even use any of the cheese, so, like, I don't really want to figure out what the math for that would be, honestly. That dinner was delicious, and now I have, like, 2.5 ounces of Caesar dressing that I can, like, dip my veggies in later. Like, use that as part of a veggie platter I do one of these days. Now I'm just gonna sit around and relax. I may edit this video tonight, although I've got a different video coming up tomorrow. But yeah, just get it all figured out now. I am just kind of here chilling. Earlier today, I finished editing and I've just been watching YouTube. I watched the Smokey Steve and Mark video that just came out. And I was also looking through Reddit and everything, and there was somebody talking about how it's okay that, like, we have feelings about how, like, Hank's diagnosis is, because even though it's parasocial, it is still a relationship. And like I said in the other video, I just already was feeling dread. I so very often just get this feeling that, like, I'm somehow, like, physically also sick, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's just something where it's gonna happen suddenly, and yeah, I don't know if it's because it could just be just how my brain works. I'm thinking about it now. I think about the fact that with, like, my aunt specifically, it seemed healthy one day, and then the next day she was not. And generally, I've had multiple family members, thinking about it now, all end up dying from diseases that just kind of took a turn for the worst very suddenly, and just, like, for so long it went undetected. My maternal grandmother she had hepatitis C, and what the whole situation is kind of crazy. And again, also I was the good portion of it happened long before I was born, and then the last bit happened right
when I was very, very young. But she had to get a blood transfusion, and the blood had hepatitis C in it, and because this was the 80s and they weren't checking. And actually, at the time, the bigger concern had been, did she end up getting blood that had HIV? Because at that time, that was about the time when it was really starting to be realized that like this was something that could happen, getting HIV through blood transfusions. And so that was the bigger concern, but it wasn't like she didn't have that. She had hepatitis C. And the problem is, due to the nature of many things, she ended up having to take Tylenol, and hepatitis C is processed in the liver. So she had almost 8 years of just like pure like harm on the liver. And so just no realization. And similarly, my great uncle, he, and this is on my dad's side, also had kidney cancer, actually, that had metastasized. And it was very sudden. He was only in hospice for about a week before he died. And like we were told it, and then like very soon thereafter I get the text being like, hey, Uncle Pat has passed. And in his case, again, it could be a number of things. Oh gosh, it wasn't kidney cancer, it was liver cancer. It was liver that had gone to the spine. That's what it was. That is what it was. And in his case, as I looked through things, he also had MS. Like, that is why nothing got caught until it was so late, because truly everything could have been like explained away by the MS. And the man, we'd seen him only 3 months before, for my grandfather's 90th, and he drove all the way from Oakland to Cheyenne by himself. So with that kind of thought, it's like these things can happen so suddenly, and it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot, generally, and which pretty much just means I really need to go to the doctor. But they make it so hard to try to set up a doctor's appointment here in UK. Gosh, this is such a bummer, but that's kind of how my evening has been. I've just become very somber now. I have been flipping through that drink book more, and so actually some of these things are from Disneyland, not just Disney World. And also, turns out, in my whole conversation about things, Disneyland didn't start really serving drinks until 2019. There was somebody at the church I grew up with who said the Mexican restaurant in Disneyland would serve beers. I don't know how true this is, because again, this was like, he was doing this when, God, probably the 80s. So there's only actually one recipe that is one chapter that's cocktails, but I think I'm going to experiment more with this. Probably do something like almost a random number generator to be like, okay, you're going to do like pick one of the chapters and then pick one of the drinks from that chapter, just to kind of play around with it. But yeah, this is kind of fun to explore, make all the different foods, because I am a Disney girl. Like, I don't really show it much here, but I am a Disney girl. Heck, my parents' like local bar is in downtown Disney, to the point where they are on a first name basis with all the bartenders. It is kind of funny. And to add on to it, my advisor, his kids are really into Disney, and that was how he introduced me to his kids. He's like, yeah, she's got like, her parents go there all the time. We were at Disneyland for a conference, or we were in Anaheim. We were at the Anaheim Convention Center, and like we got dinner with her parents in downtown Disney. Also, because for my advisor, I actually did pick up for his kids a couple of gifts from Disneyland for Christmas this year. But yeah, no, I've really been missing Disney also. I've been seeing all the food stuff and people doing different things, so I'm kind of want to bring some Disney into my life here in Kentucky again. But yeah, besides that, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!